Ooh.
What's up, guys? It's your boy, Jemmy Fanboy 2016 here, and today I'm going to be doing an epic review of the 2011 Jemmy life-size toy. I'm going to be doing a review of 2011 Magic Power life-size Twilight Switcher. I love this prop. I'm going to start by saying that this is probably one of my favorite zombie props ever made, and I've been wanting him for so many years. He was on my childhood dream list, along with Bone Collector, Headbanger, Beheaded Bride, and now the only one that's still on there is the Jemmy Ghostface. That's the only one left, and I am still determined to get it, although that probably won't be a while considering how much they go for. But yeah, I finally got Twilight Switcher now, and I absolutely love him. As I stated, he came out in 2011. He was in the Zombie Wasteland theme, which is also one of my favorite themes, if not my favorite theme Spirit has ever created. And he was right next to Flesh Eater back then, 2011 Flesh Eater. And then next to them was on the right, Zombie Bait, and what was like Night Stalker or some shit like that. I don't know. It was an older static prop. And then on the left there was Eaten Alive. He's made by Magic Power. Later in Magic Power's like when they were still making good shit. His build quality, I'm gonna be honest, is very bad. It's really bad, especially when you compare it to things like Face Ripper, Heads Up Harry, or Face Changer, things like that. Twilight Switcher is built very poorly. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the hell out of this prop, but oh my god, it is built like shit. It's pretty much assembled like an SBI, except all of the poles are plastic. Now, to give them credit, they're pretty thick plastic, but they're still plastic, and I don't really like it. Yeah, he's got a very similar hip loop, sort of, except it comes all in one piece and it's really cheap plastic. His build quality is not great. His mechanism is designed pretty well. I haven't really seen any of these guys give out, in terms of the movement at least. Most of the time it's usually just wiring issues because this guy has some really thin ass wires. Unfortunately, the eyes on mine no longer light up, which is also a somewhat common issue as far as I've seen. I actually earlier today I went in there and I took everything apart and I rewired the eyes completely, and they still don't work, so I think the LEDs themselves are shot, which I don't really feel like going through the effort of replacing. This guy's head is made of pretty damn thick resin. I don't think it's standard plastic, I think it's resin, which means that it is pretty much impossible to work on without breaking it. But yeah, his quality isn't great, but he makes up for it in his looks, and even though it's pretty basic, his movement. Now, despite moving very much similar to Limb Ripper, who I also own, they have two completely different mechanisms. Limb Ripper has a standard seasonal vision steer mechanism that only really turns one direction. Twilight Switcher, on the other hand, he has a motor that will go in one direction, hit a relay switch, and then start turning in the opposite direction to, go the other way. Which is interesting, although inefficient for this type of prop. It does, however, mean that he resets to, the middle, pretty commonly. He doesn't always reset to the middle, he doesn't always play his reset animation, but for the most part, as long as he's somewhere in the middle, he will reset there. Which is good. I like when props reset to the middle. It's a very big pet peeve of mine when they'll reset, all the way to the side or something. His motor's pretty quiet, quieter than Limb Ripper's, honestly, and it's not quite as fast, but I think that's also attributed to the fact that he's kind of underpowered on his original adapter, which is what I'm using right now. He runs on a 4.5 volt, but most people usually run him on a 6.2 from Techie, and he usually runs fine on those. I don't feel like risking it though, so I'm just going to keep him on his original adapter because he seems to have worked on it, ever since he existed. So, it's fine. He's not, horribly slow. He's pretty damn loud, too. Not, the loudest of things, and his speaker quality isn't great, but, Magic Power speakers have always been dog shit. It is so funny when you're in front of, Face Changer, or Face Ripper, or Heads Up Harry, and they're Their speakers are so muffled, it's great. This guy, he has springs in his arms that are a little bit looser than Limb Ripper's, I think. Although his hands are less heavy, so they twitch around a little bit less. Like, Limb Ripper's swing around, his just, he, you know, twitches. He's the Twilight Twitcher, after all. And his head is also spring-loaded. There's no actual neck piece, much like Face Changer. It's just a big spring that holds it up. His base, he's got absolutely nothing on his base because all of his electronics are contained within his chest area. But fun fact, these are the exact same shoe molds that Face Ripper has. They just have additional blood on them. The base itself is just a square piece of plastic. There's nothing on it in terms of electronics. It's just a completely independent thing, but it's serviceable. It's smaller than I would like it to be, but it's not so small that he, like, it's not like Henry where there's a risk of him falling over. Hi. But it's still smaller than I'd like it to be, but honestly for him it's pretty much fine. His clothes are actually pretty nice, considering how much I've been dogging on his build quality. His clothes are really nice. I really like the material they're made out of. They look really realistic, and they look like actual clothes to me. Also, I like how the bloodstain looks. It's massive, and it looks like he's just a very messy eater. He's very detailed, also. He has probably one of my favorite zombie head molds ever made. Like, I really like good zombie head molds. Some of my favorites are, again, Twilight Twitcher, probably Headbanger will go up there, and Toxic Zombie Barrel is another one. But, yeah, I'll go up a little bit closer to get some better detailing. Yeah, this is the first review I'm actually including the box in. I have the boxes for a lot of my props, like, fucking Wally, I think his box is in my attic. I still have Flesh Eaters, I have Grimsleys, I obviously still have Wackies. I had Beheaded Bride's box, but then I sold it to one of my friends, who coincidentally is the same dude I actually traded Twilight Twitcher for. I hadn't mentioned that, but I traded Dead Humor and the Gemmy Creepy Crawler Girl for Twilight Twitcher. Yeah, I traded Dead Humor like a week after I got him. Honestly, it was worth it though. I like this guy way too much. Yeah, his hands are fucking gross, and I love it so much. They're so veiny, and there's a lot of rot here. Blood on the fingertips and shit. And you can see there's like some muscle exposed, and it's really neat. I really like it. In this one especially, you can see right there, there's just like a full bone. It's really cool. And then his head, very, very detailed. Oh my god. His skin is a little smooth in some areas, but I think it's not noticeable, really, as much as some other, like, prop sculpts. For him, he's just very detailed all around, and his teeth are painted magnificently. He's just very well detailed, generally. And yeah, as I had stated, he's got springy head, and then springy arm. His arms are also extremely posable. Like, they're real easy to pose. They can pretty much go into any position you want them to. I don't think he has a try me slot, but he does have an actual... He does, weirdly enough, have a step pad slot. But it's one of those old harnesses that Techie Toys used to use. I don't know why, but whatever. It works. And that's kind of what I'm using him on. He comes with a motion sensor, but it is ass. It is the worst motion sensor I've ever owned on a prop. It is so fucking atrocious. I think it's worse than Headbangers before it stopped working completely. Which is saying a lot, because, oh my god. You have to flicker a light in his fucking face to get him to activate on sensor. But, whatever, I'm just gonna use him on step pad most of the time. Well anyway, there's not much else to really say about this fella. Oh, I may as well talk about his box, since I got it out, actually. Yeah, on the box is in pretty good shape. It's a little beat up in some areas, but overall it's not bad. Yeah, Twilight Twitcher, life-size and motion-activated. Life-threatening groans. I wouldn't exactly call them life-threatening. This is the prototype, as you can tell by the fact that it is different. The clothes, the blood stains on this one, I don't know why, but I like a lot less than the comical amount of blood on the produced model. Top just says Twilight Twitcher. I'm just using this to support my lamp so I can actually have not ass lighting. On the side of the box it says pretty much the same thing. On the other side of the box it says pretty much the same thing. And then on the back of the box it just says like 70 inches tall or some shit. Anyway, let's get to activating them now. If I have something really long I can just kind of hit this with. There we go. See, he resets to the middle like that. It's good. The first couple of times I ran him, he made this really loud clicking noise when he got to the right side. And I think I figured out what happened. I think it was a combination of his motor still warming up and his relay switches not being pressed down quite enough. So what was happening, I think, was since he stopped his soundtrack when he was all the way turned to the right side. And I think it didn't hit his relay switch, or it just kept pressing down on it or something. And it freaked him out, so he didn't know what to do, so he just kept turning right eternally. So I had to unplug him, and then I plugged him back in, and I ran him a lot, and now he's pretty much fine. I think his relay switches just need to be realigned a little bit. I'll activate him a couple of more times. I'll move the camera a little bit closer as well. Yeah, see, right there, what he did, he's resetting more. He has a reset animation. He's resetting a lot more now. I think, again, he's gotten warmed up at this point, since I've been using him a lot all day. But he's been resetting a lot more than the first couple of times I activated him, which is good. Now it seems like most every time that I use him, he'll play his reset animation after he's done, you know, doing his thing. Which is nice. I really like when props reset facing forward like this. That's why I love that Seasonal Vision started putting relay switches in their props, like Wacky and Charlie and such. I like that they did that. My least favorite thing on 2013 Wacky was how it would reset to the side. I still hate that on Limb Ripper too. And Flesh Eater. Oh my god, I hate it on Flesh Eater. But anyway, yeah, there's my rant about relay switches. Twilight switcher's pretty uncommon, but not impossible to find. Usually they're pretty hard to find, especially in fully working order, which unfortunately mine also is not, but I don't really mind, because it's still Twilight Switcher, and I still love him. Definitely one of my favorite zombie props, just kind of ever. I always really like this guy. Yeah, if you can find one, pick it up. Just be wary of, again, the dog shit build quality. Fun fact, he actually has a useless battery compartment implemented into his chest. It literally says on it, "This is not an operational battery compartment." I don't know why it has a fucking unusable